Art has the potential to heighten awareness, excite the senses, and transform how we see our surroundings and one another. Art can enrich our community and inspire us. As a winery that seeks to combine commerce with conscience, we're pleased to foster an artistic spirit within our campus, the community, the company.
The Artist in Residence program was born through a series of conversations with the winery about what we might be able to create together. It came from those conversations of me wanting to study craft and to make an artistic work product related to that craft. I had a long love affair with photography. As I was thinking about which products would lend themselves to a long form study, wine was one of the first things that I thought of because it has natural cadences over a year and also over many years. And I ended up talking to the good people at A to Z Wineworks and surfacing this idea of, hey, why don't I come and hang out and take photographs over a period of a year and study winemaking, winemakers, and the craft that you bring to putting wine in the glass on the table. Your appreciation of an artisanal product increases the more you understand about how it's made and the talent and the time it takes to make a thing of beauty. Working Harvest was a very natural thing to want to do, to get to know the process and specifically get to know the people. So working alongside people that I want to photograph later, doing the jobs that they do, shouldering those burdens, means that when I turn up later with a camera, I'm just part of the fabric of the campus and nobody's thinking, who's this guy pointing a camera at me? It's like, oh, there's Adrian. Hi, Adrian, how you doing? I'm just gonna get on with my job. And I get a very natural photographic record of that person doing their job. A great example of access is there's a photograph of Sean cleaning the inside of one of the largest presses. I knew Sean, and because I know how to operate safely around a winery, I was able to get inside that press with him whilst he's cleaning and sit there on the floor of this giant press and take photographs. If I didn't know Sean that well through working alongside him, if he didn't know about my photographic project, if I didn't know how to operate around campus, if I wasn't here, that photograph wouldn't exist. So my photography project became a celebration of the people. And many of those people who work at the winery, they really are true heroes. They're not the people who get interviewed for business magazines. They're not the people whose headshots are on websites, but they're the people who make the magic happen. And I couldn't have got that understanding of those people without working alongside them to build the personal relationship and without doing their jobs to understand how much skill and attention to detail is involved every day. So my project became about the people making the wine as much as how do you make wine.
We all worked Harvest. Like, we have been in the trenches. We have done this. We are a part of the winery. We're a part of the wine that these people are drinking, and it's really integrated. It's not a separate piece. Like, the winery is truly, everyone is together, and I love that about the residency program.
I am a mixed media installation artist, and I work with a lot of recyclable materials. I wanted to do A to Z Wineworks Artist in Residency because I think it was a great way to promote myself, improve my art practice, and my portfolio. I am still a young and up-and-coming artist, and I really appreciate the opportunity that the winery is giving to back me, in a way to promote me. I see that they value fine arts and education.
The Artist in Residency program gave me a new opportunity to build much bigger pieces than I'd ever done. So I got to just work on a larger canvas, which I'd never been able to do, and that's been amazing and really exciting. You know, I'm no longer working on my apartment floor. After work, I have a full studio space, which has been great. This was an opportunity to have free range of time to really focus on it and work on it and see what I could accomplish. The piece behind me took about 1.5 years because it's just, you have to layer each color so many times, and it's tedious on some level to just carefully paint. I have other pieces where there's a gradient that I had to work for about 18 hours straight just to get it done, because once you start the gradient, you can't stop. Each piece has to mold into the last color. I was very thankful that I got to just use my creativity and I didn't feel overwhelmed or pressured to make a particular piece or style. I definitely think the last 2 years with this residency has given me an opportunity to think about my process and my growth in it.
The works are a series, even if they look different structurally, they're similar because the materials are similar used in ways, but also the color palette as well. See how beautiful the colors are when they are next to each other. I really wanted just to show the beauty of the color that is from the lees.
And from you, I learned what lees were, and it's the kind of that fermented thick substance that's really dense and sits at the bottom of the wine vats, and it creates a beautiful pigment. Being an artist or being someone who's creative is very vulnerable because you're putting yourself out there and then you don't know what that person may say about your work, your process. In terms of my art practices, like whatever I do is not a degression, it is progression.
I think it's a huge benefit that the Artist in Residency program requires you to do an off-site show. It takes it into the larger community. You're not gonna make something that every person loves, but that's okay. Just make it for yourself. I think it's super important to have art in every community. Times are hard and it's depressing when you look at the news. Having something that can inspire you or bring you joy is an amazing thing. Even though I've been painting for years, I've never had the opportunity to do a show or showcase any of my work. Today is the gallery showcase where people have made reservations to come and taste some wine, and they get to see my work and ask me questions.
I hung that show in the Chehalem Cultural Center, and that was a wonderful experience for me because it was the first time I'd hung a show for public viewing. And then I moved the show into the tasting room here at the winery so that it has a longer life. If I could give some advice to a prospective artist in residence or intern, it would be to say that there are so many dimensions of this winery that are worth investigating and studying, from the agricultural side to the winemaking side to the operational side to the marketing and corporate side, and that all of the people involved in those areas are very open and willing to share their time and their knowledge, that you can investigate and get muse from any of those aspects.